Hi, it's Conkers Live. You ready to dance? Hello and welcome. Here we are. I got that right first time tonight. That's the first time I think I've done that. Wow. So hello. It's been a while. We've been away for the weekend recently, and you were invited. I hope you came and joined us. I know some of you haven't. I see some of the names there that I remember from the weekend, and some of the people who watched us online. So that was great. Thank you for doing that. I'll be talking a bit more about that in a minute. Yeah, I'm very well. Thank you, Andy, Michael. And everyone else. Man from Uncle. Oh, I don't think that was Man from Uncle there. Definitely more Austin Powers, I think. Frederick, great to see you out there. And everyone else. Stephen, hello there. Conker folk. Okay. I'll be thinking about that one later on. But great to see you out there. Thank you very much, everyone. And I can't not mention the Weekender because it was fantastic, and it was fantastic because so many people came along, joined in, and just made what was going to be a pretty good event brilliant. So apparently I use the word brilliant a lot, so I'm going to start ringing a bell every time I say brilliant. I'm going to go like that if I remember, if I spot myself. But anyway, it was a brilliant event, so we really enjoyed it. I hope you came along and watched it, came along and enjoyed it as well. And if you didn't, you still can get the live streams for it. Just 10 quid a day. In total, we recorded about 18 hours worth of films, of footage. And most of it was live. Probably about 80% of it was live, what was going on the day. There were a few fill-ins and a few other bits and pieces. But we tried as much as we could to avoid having screens saying, we'll be back in 10 minutes, because that's not what you want from a live stream. So in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a short clip. It's less than 2 minutes long, I think. And it's from the Sunday at the Weekender. And the game you can play on this one is Spot the Faces. See how many people you recognize. Were you there? Do you recognize yourself? If you see yourself in there, put it in the chat, say that's me. Or if you recognize some other people from it, again, just shout out the names as they come up. I'm not going to join in because I'd win. I've got a list of who was there, so that's cheating. But why don't you have a little look at this one? Sunday at the Weekender. And all of this footage is taken from the live stream. So if you're thinking, well, do I want to spend £10 on something I don't know how good it is? This is all from the live stream. So you'll be able to see the quality of it and how good it was, and some of the camera angles, which were brilliant. And see what you think on it. Here we go. Here, I'll just find it in my little list here, and we'll run. I never get tired of watching that, because it just reminds me how well it all went, and how much everyone worked together for that. So thank you so much. And as I say, if you are in the least bit tempted to purchase one of the live streams, I think there should be a link down there. Just click on there, take it over to the website, and you'll be able to, 10 quid gets you access. Unlimited access. You can watch it as many times as you want. We're going to leave it up there for at least a year, and help yourself and join in, watch it, and I think you'll enjoy it. You don't have to watch all 18 hours at once, by the way. You can dip in and out of it, which I think I would recommend. I was there, and it was hard going sometimes. Anyway, moving over to tonight, we have in a change to the originally advertised program, as they say, Les Thorne, lightning strikes once again for Les, unable to demonstrate for us this evening. Completely not his fault. We understand why it is, but he's fine, everything's good. And we've enlisted Chris Parker instead, who's going to be giving us a demo tonight. It's fortuitous in a way. We've been trying to, we've been wanting to get Chris on Conkers Live for some time now. He produces some amazing work. You may have seen some of it on our Conkers Facebook group recently. So he produces some brilliant work. We've wanted an opportunity to get him on, and as soon as Les was unable to come along tonight, I thought this is our chance to get Chris in quick. So that's what we've done. So Chris, hopefully you're there. I'm going to bring you on screen. There you are. Hi, how you doing?
Good evening, Jerry. I'm well, thanks.
Excellent. Keeping yourself busy?
Yeah, October is becoming really busy. If I had her, it's unbelievable. It's good to be getting back into the clubs and what have you, and a bit of normality returning.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think there's still a little way to go, but it's getting a lot more. It's getting a lot closer to normal. And you were telling me this is a particularly busy few days for you.
Yeah, I've got Conkers tonight, and tomorrow night I'm at High Peak Woodturners, and Saturday I'm demonstrating over to the US, and it just carries on. The month just gets. I think I've got 9 demos in October. So, that's brilliant.
That's brilliant, and it's a testament as well to your popularity, because I think you kind of launched yourself into the whole on-stream thing and the IRDs really just as the pandemic was starting.
I literally went full-time turning the back of 2019,
Right.
and then the world shut down in March 20. So it was like I had all the demos booked and everything, and it was just took away from underneath me.
Yeah, it was a real pain. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again, that my calendar for the year suddenly, it's just red lines, cancelled all the way through. Which is why Conkers Live came along, really, to try and fill in some of that gap, and to try, in just a tiny way, to get something for the demonstrators out there who are missing out on it all.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironically, I think I've given more demonstrations to people in America than I have in the UK.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. I've got some dates coming up in October that's filling up really nice now, the 9th and the 16th for texturing demonstrations.
okay, brilliant. And there we go. My screen's just died. I'm back again now. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I've got a little sign up saying that my internet is a little bit dodgy. Connection is fairly good. Okay, right. We're not on Wi-Fi, but hopefully that won't be happening too often this evening. But yeah, it's great to be able to do these long distance demos without the jet lag.
Yeah, definitely. Some of the time zones can be a bit difficult to work. It's good all in all.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good opportunity. We'll talk more about that later on. I've no idea what the time is because I've been jabbering away. Oh, it's nearly time for the demo. So I'll take you off screen for a couple of minutes and bring you back on very, very shortly. Just do a couple of announcements. I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about yet, but I'll think of something. We'll see you back in 2-3 minutes.
See you soon, Jerry. Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Thanks, Chris. So there you go. There's Chris coming back for us in just a couple of minutes. We did freeze there for a moment. My screen just went black, so I don't know what's happening for sure. We are on fiber and wide broadband here, so I can't say what exactly happened there. So apologies. Hopefully it was a one-off, but it's blowing a gale outside. Not that should really matter. And the weather's been appalling and just everything's all over the place at the moment. Mike, I love a bacon and onion pud. Absolutely one of my favorites. I very, very rarely have it these days. But yeah, always one of my favorites. I'm just chucking that out there. So if anyone's listening and wants to send one in, probably don't actually. It'd be really messy. But you're not alone in loving those. That's for sure. So we'll get back to Chris in a couple of minutes. As I say, don't forget all your links and everything to the world of Chestnut are below. If it's your first time here, then I've no idea what you've been doing for the last 14 months or so. But if it's your first time here, don't forget to sign up for our bulletins about Conkers Live, so you know exactly what's going on, who's going to be demonstrating and when. It'll also include all the links you need. So sign up for those and get various bits of rubbish from us just once in a while. We try not to do it too much. Stephen, post. Don't encourage people to post it. So that's fine. Right. So without further ado, I will switch over back onto Chris, get him demonstrating for you, and got a couple of things to tell you about during the break. So don't go too far away. But of course, you won't want to because Chris will be coming back afterwards anyway. So someone was having trouble with some. The screen waving a bit. That's me waving, not the screen there. So hopefully that's okay. Yeah, take the chat off. It's fine. How strange. All right. So hopefully we've got all the other problems solved, and I've got a message coming there. All right. Okay. And Chris has obviously got a little technical problem there. He's just disappeared for a moment. So time for me to fill just a little bit more. Wasn't ready for this one, so I'll just have a little think about what I'm going to talk about. Hang on. All right, so we're always at the mercy of the internet and connection, so that's always a problem for us. But hopefully, we're not going to be too far off. Simon Barnard asking there about bacon and onion pudding. Yeah, it's literally bacon and onion in like a, I don't know, what would you call it? Yeah, it's a pudding basically, but it's really good. Sing along with Terry. Steve Ash asks, yeah, if you're at the weekend, you saw me singing. Probably best not repeated. Did you see Emma singing though? Wasn't that good? She was really a revelation there. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, and I haven't even mentioned the Only Fools and Horses thing, but you had to be there to really know what I'm talking about on that one. So, Chris, I can see you back again. If you want to give us a thumbs up when you're ready, there's a thumbs up. Yay! So I can now stop talking just rubbish and the like. So, Chris, let's get you back on. There you are. Yeah. Right, mate. Yeah. So, all good to go?
Absolutely, Jerry. All we're in.
All right, fantastic. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the brilliant Chris Parker with the demo. And if you have any questions, do ask him in the chat. I'll be interrupting Chris every so often to ask you questions. And in the meantime, I'll see you in around about an hour's time. Cheers for now.
Okay, Jerry, first of all, thanks very much for this opportunity to demo. I hope Les is doing good. Hopefully he'll be able to demo for Conkers later in the year. So tonight, I'm going to show you how I do these like a form with a turbine effect cut into the top. And when they're seated, they present themselves like that with the foot that I've cut on the back of it. So it's going to be a Blue Peter type of demonstration, because obviously you didn't want me to be hollowing the whole thing out for 30 minutes because there's nothing to show. So that's basically the piece. You'll get a better close-up of it there. So there's texture on it, there's colour, and there's a nice curve to the side and dropping off at the foot there. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. So first of all, we're on with a piece of sycamore. It's about 8 inches in diameter and about 4 inches thick. So I'm just going to load it onto the screw chuck. Okay, so we're going to bring in the tailstock as well for added support. So you can see with the shape of the wood, that's going to be the outside curve. So just how we position the wood, we can use them with these just the way it is. So we're going to round that over and bring it through. When I'm just rounding a piece out, I use the bedways to line up the tool rest so that it's pretty parallel. Probably a bit too close there. So then we just get a nice parallel cut without having to measure things. So I'm just going to lock that off. So I'm running approximately 900 RPMs. Going to use a long grind ball gouge, just the way I like to use it. I can utilize the cutting edges for most of the initial roughing. I'll go through that as we do things. All right, last final thing, eye protection. I think, get that on. So with this tool, I'm going to use the very point of it. It's quite an aggressive cut, but the tool is virtually horizontal to the floor. It is a roughing cut, and it can remove a lot of timber very quickly. So just slightly tilt it over to the right. So again, just move it up to a good distance, about 6 millimeters from the wood I have it. So we've still got a couple of flats there. So that tells me that it's now round. So now I'm going to switch to a shear cut. I'm going to have it very pointing down like that, and probably at about 80 degrees. So, but that one in a bit. So this one is the back of the wing. The middle of that wing is going to cut. So put the bevel on, and then turn it over. And straight away gives a much nicer finish. It's a much more gentle cut. We'll just stop halfway through. So you go from the roughing cut with the same tool to a pretty decent surface there. So I'm happy with that rounding now. I'm going to bring it into here, give it a spin again. So on that corner, just some little cuts, making my way into the middle. And do again. So as we've got enough room to cut for the tenon there, I'm just going to go in. So we've got a nice flat area there for the tenon. And a little trick I got off David Atkinson, if we know him. It's just a pencil. And it's the right diameter when I sit it on my tailstock for my tenon. So especially for new turners, there's no danger. And it's there instead of having to use a pair of calipers that could flick up and cause an injury. So it's a nice and easy little way. So just go a bit heavier with that pencil. Now just cut back again. So the knife with this now point on my bow gouge, I can cut a pretty sharp shoulder. Just want it a bit deeper than that. So I've got approximately about 15 millimeters on my tenon. I use a negative rate scraper, where it's got a 90-degree angle on that corner there. So I'm going to use that, and it's going to give me a nice shoulder for the jaws to sit into. So I now know that that is a really nice sharp corner in there. So when the jaws go against it, they'll have something to sit against nice and tight. And we also will put a little hollow in the base so it doesn't rock in the chuck. Only has to be a little one. There's enough daylight in between that now, so that'll sit in the chuck very nicely. So I'm going to proceed to put a curve. Spring at approximately 45 degrees across the corner. And some draw cuts and bring it back. In fact, I can get that speed up a bit now. Just keep bringing that round, making my way to the foot. So I'm just going to change tool rests because of the way I do the shear cut, where I have the tool very near vertical to the piece. The colour of this actual tool rest gets in the way of the tool. So I use a round bar one, which allows me to get that angle, because otherwise the one with the collar, I just can't get the angle that I want. Up a little bit. So you can see there, I can now get the angle that I want, which will give me a really nice finish to the wood, even before I put a push cut on there.
Oh, that's the wrong way round. Couple of questions for you, Chris.
Hi, Terry. Yeah.
Hi there. Someone's asking, is that wood green or is it dry?
This is actually green.
It is.
This is yeah.
All right, brilliant. So Debbie, so that's green and fairly wet. And DJ Brinkley is asking, what sort of lathe have you got there?
I'm on it's a Jet, which is basically the same as a Powermatic in America. It's had a bit of a colour job because I use so much colours, and it used to be white. You could see all the different colours. So I coloured the headstock and the tailstock black, which you can't see any of the other colours. So that's why it looks a bit of a hybrid, really.
That's fine. That makes sense. That's why we wear our work t-shirts are very sort of dark in colour, because they do tend to get a bit messy. So I understand the theory. All right, cheers. Put you back on full screen.
All right, Terry. So so the moisture in this is probably about 23, 24%. So this it will be a rough turn piece that I'll use in 4 or 5 months' time. Even a tiny little bit of burr in there. So let's bring that round there. So if you look at the original, I want to try and get a nice full curve all the way around. So there's still a bit there. We'll obviously be using a bit on the top for the flutes. Well, I'm just going to bring it down a bit further. We'll take a bit of a push cut on this edge. I can get in there to do a bit of a push cut now that I'm on the outer edge of it. Start bringing that up to somewhere where I want it. I need to get rid of that lump that's there. I'll bring it round a bit more. Roll that a bit. It's nearly got that curve where I want it now. We'll just do a little bit to take off that front edge. So also I'll be using the negative rate scraper. Is basically how I use this. It's a larger portion of that wing. So that wing on the gouge, I'll be using that edge on the negative rake. So you can see the surface the gouge is left. It's been lovely. And this will just do as good a job. So I'm happy with that. We'll just do a little bit of a tool mark around there and just in that base. So again, just be careful not to catch it. Shouldn't be too bad, that. One little bit there. They always think whatever you do to a piece, if the shape isn't there, you're on a very much of an uphill struggle. So it's worth spending that time and getting it how you want it. Okay. A little bit of a flat edge there. Okay, so I'm happy with the shape of that now. I'll just give it a quick sanding. 180 should suffice. I do have extraction systems running in the workshop, and I will put on. You've got that many things stuck on your head. Just don't want it to pull the microphone off again. Right, I'm going to send it that way. I've got an extraction system on that side. So if I put that into reverse, it'll take the dust away for me. Or I generally do sanding at a half of what a turning speed. So we're on about 650, 700. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to take that off, turn it around. I'm using a set of H gripper jaws. Find them very, very good because of the serrations on it. They can really bite into the timber and gives you a good secure hold. Just get that. Offer that up to the lathe. Bring that up. So when I just want to get it set right, just back the chuck off a bit. And just get that in the center of the hole where the screw chuck was. Well, that's nice and central in there. Well, happy with that. I'll lock that down. Just that front edge, just putting it out of it. First of all, I'm going to clean this front edge up. It's not too bad actually, not too far out. We'll just speed up a touch. Onto that. Well, that's just cleaned that face up now. Yep, happy with that. Just a little bit of, just bring that in there. Well, basically what I will do now, I'm going to drill the center out, losing that microphone a bit.
Chris, interrupting you quickly. Hi again. Someone's asking what make your screw chuck is.
It's an Axminster, wherever it's gone. There. Let's put that on
Okay.
there. It's for the got it from Axminster. It's got a nice little faceplate as well, where you could add additional screws if you have to. And that's a larger screw that they do. Very, very good, tenacious grip. It really has. You saw with the ring on the side there, it really bit into it. I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. And just the other thing, I know you're using a new mic tonight, and I've got to say it's working brilliantly. We're getting no background noise whatsoever. I think the camera's just frozen there, or you're standing very still. No, you're just standing very still. You have me worried for a second. Yeah, we're getting no background noise whatsoever. You might want to move. I know I asked you to move the microphone just a little bit closer. You might want to move it just half an inch away, because we are getting a little bit of heavy breathing there as well. So,
Does that sound any better?
hang on, just keep quiet but breathe. Yep. Okay. So, folks, don't worry. Chris is still alive. He hasn't passed out or anything. We've just moved the microphone.
Right. Thanks for that, Terry.
You're
okay.
No problem.
Okay. So I'm going to use a 1.5 inch bit. I'm going to take it out to the required depth. So as you can see, that's going to be, I'd say, the end of there. So I'm just going to back this off so I can get my Jacob's chuck in okay. Let's go. So I don't do any of my drilling any faster than 400. So there's quite a lot of torque. So I'm just going to slow it down. Everything's locked off and slowly wind in. Just remember to remove it. You don't want any blockages or anything. Go again, 2, 3, and then back out. 1, 2, 3. Just give that a quick blow out with the airline. And we're going to leave it there. Back that out and I can get that drill out. So now what I would normally do, I would now completely hollow this piece out. So, go on to that. Yep, so I would normally, I've got the shape that I want. I will now hollow it out to approximately 12 millimeters throughout. And that generally, it's a good thickness to leave it for me, especially with sycamore, is quite a good dryer. So it works okay. So I'm not going to show you the hollowing process, but what I am going to show you is what I use. So that will be the big one with a 6mm carbide in the end. Absolutely ferocious. It's very, very quick at what it does, and very cheap. They're not expensive, and I can get a lot of the bulk out with this piece. So you can get right down to the bottom, and you just got to get into the sides. What I would use for that It's from Woodturning, and that is that's a swan neck, and this has got a 12 millimeter hardened steel cutter on it. Very, very efficient, and it leaves a reasonable surface. The better you get with them, the more proficient you get with them. It's just like in any other bit of turning. So the more you use it, the better at it you become. And on the inside, what I would finish off with then is a large, that's a 30, is it 32? Yeah. Yeah, that's a 32 mil hardened steel disc with a one bevel on the edge there, and they're just sharpened on the CBM wheel. I do both of these on the CBM wheel. Leaves a very keen edge, and that just nicely cleans up the inside if there's any tool marks to be removed. Like that. Okay, so this is the Blue Peter part. So here is the one that I prepared earlier. Now, the only difference with this one and that one is that this one is now hollowed. So that's completely done right out to the edge. So what we will do, I'm going to attach it into the lathe. That's good. I'm just going to move this tailstock, and then you can see what I'm doing. So as you can see, the flutes on the piece are at a curve. But first of all, what we're going to do is put the first lines on, and I'll show you how we laid it out. So basically, we've got a little jig. Just go onto that face full camera there. That's a little jig that sits on the lathe bed. This pencil point is exact center height. So when it's on there, I then simply drop it. So I'll put my indexing system in, lock it into where I want it. And we'll just come across the piece. So this indexing pin will give me 14, I think it is. So you can see it coming across there. When I used to try and do it on the tool rest, pencil would wobble and it was difficult. So this little jig just makes it so easy and efficient. Okay, so that is the first lot of pencil layout. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take it off the lathe and put it into a chuck holder that I can mount in there. So I've got this mounted on the banjo now. So I can then take it off the lathe. Just move that into the center of the camera. So you can quite clearly see the pencil lines around there now. Now what I would do, using that inside, that flat corner spot there, just goes onto that one, onto there. And we'll come round that way. And then the same again, the next one over. So you can see that would be what you cut out. So we go around. I'm going to cut a quarter of these. I'm not going to cut the whole lot, otherwise I'll be here for a few hours. There's 1, 2. You see them okay, I think. That one onto there. So we would simply go all the way around, marking it up as you need it.
Chris, I love that pencil jig, by the way. I think that's worth a closer look again. In the meantime, obviously, for marking that out, you've used the indexing system on the lathe. If you haven't got one of those, I guess it's back to a protractor and measuring everything.
Yes, basically, yeah. You start on the clock, 12, 3, 6, and 9, and just work through in that sequence, really. But yeah, this lathe came with a built-in indexing system, so I'm very lucky with that.
Certainly makes it easier, and that brilliant stuff. So
yeah,
I'll let you get back on. That was a question that came in, so I thought I'd ask that. So back to you.
All right, there you go. What was that? Right. So we're back on. Oops, turn it all the way around. Go on to the next one on that corner. And onto there. So we'll just proceed all the way around. And they're the bits that we're going to cut out. Okay? So you would just carry on in the same way all the way around the piece. One more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, I'm going to cut out 4 of these to show you how I do it. Get rid of that. So the tool that I'm firstly going to use is an Ibotech. It's just got a saber tooth cut in it. So first of all, while I'm using another power tool at the lathe, I will switch the power off, even though it's not connected to the lathe spindle. It's just takes any accidents out, because in future, if you are using a tool and you've got it switched on, you just doubt yourself and you just turn the lathe on, not thinking. So I've turned the power off to that, so that's all good. So this little chuck holder from Woodcut, the carver's clamp. So you can see the pencils line there. So I'm going to scoop that out as much as I can with the Ibotech. So we're going to lean it over a bit. And there was one little thing I nearly forgot. Also, what you want to do is around the edge, I put about 6 or 7 millimeters. You should be able to see that pencil line, because you've got to remember this is only about 12 mil thick at the outside edge. So when we've hollowed down 6 or 7 millimeters, you don't want to go any further. So that's just a nice reference point there. Back to that. Okay, so what I now do, I'm going to twitch it over so it's on that angle there. I'm going to twist it back to those that I've cut. So now when I'm cutting the depth, I can get it right onto the line where I want it. Right, I'm going to bring that up there. I just need to bring another tool in there. 1 second. So in this cutter, in this micro motor, I've got a Kutzall 9.3 millimeter burr, a very efficient tool. They're very, very good. So with them simply just working my way to the pencil line. And also you can see just the size of it there. It's a very nice size for the end of the flute and the size of the burr. I'm going to turn the direction around with that. Just keep bringing it across. To the next one.
Chris, can I ask
Hello.
which micro motor do you have there? Which one are you using?
It's from, what's his name? Is it David Woods, is it? Woods. Oh, my goodness, I forgot his name now. I'm sure his name's Woods. He goes to the Harrogate show and Wood Art Products.
Wood Art Products. Is that John?
Is it John Woods, is it?
John Woods. There, Paul Howard saying John Woods.
John Woods, that's the one, yeah. It's his macro motor. Fantastic, they are absolutely brilliant. The man absolutely stands by his guarantee. I can definitely vouch for that.
Brilliant. So Strong recommendation for that one then.
Oh, he's brilliant.
Everyone else knew it was Wood Art Products. You were the only one struggling to remember it by the look of it.
I'm trying to keep my fingers intact.
You carry on with that. That sounds like a good plan.
Okay. So just keep to your pencil line. There, just that bit. Just try and get it out to as good a level as you can. Just get it as tight as you can to that pencil line, which gives you the shape of the flute. So I think that's enough for people understand the concept of cording the whole piece out. If anybody wants me to do a bit more of that, I will do. Or if you've got any questions on the bits, absolutely. So once we've got to this stage now, we need to try and just get rid of the roughness if possible. It's got 80 grit, I think, 80 grit, and just remove where's that rotary burr gone? It's not there. Where is it gone? You never find a little piece when you want it. So I can see that one there. I just need to cut it back a bit more to the line there.
Questions that's come in from Simon Barnard. He says he uses the saber-tooth bits, but are there any difference between them and the others? He's mentioned, well, I don't know, Cuzzle is that, or Duragrit, or would you say they're much for muchness?
They're much for the muchness, as you say, Terry. These are just from Cutzall, but saber-tooth do the same things. And I think the saber-tooth are not nice bright colours. That's the only difference.
Okay. Cutzall, that's what it is. Sorry, I couldn't read that.
Yeah, Cutzall.
Yeah, but you reckon much for muchness. Emma says the saber-tooth and maybe coarser.
Right, yeah, that's well, yeah, you can get the extreme coarse, which I think it's a purple one, I think, and that is very, very coarse. But this does a phenomenal job, so I'm quite happy with them.
Yeah, but stick with what you like, mate.
Yeah. So we just work on that. Just try and clean the surface up as much as you can. you use an arbor in a drill. I know if you draw this backwards and forwards instead of sideways, that can sometimes clean the surface up. Not too bad. Right. If you see it like that. And because this is going to have another texture on, I'm actually going to carry on with that, actually. It's got to be careful it doesn't run away from you. As I say, just work on them. Make sure you've got that cove nice and clean there. Let me just move that one. Just going to come in with that Arbitec again and just clean the bottom of that up. And we're nearly there now. Where we put that? Where's that? Use that one. Just keep going to the contour that you want to cut. Nice shape. And the pad doesn't want to stick on that. Maybe now would be a good time for a break, Terry. If that's okay with you.
Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Oh, well, that's big, isn't it? Blimey, don't want that. That's the layout I was looking for. Got there.
That's the one, yeah.
I clicked the wrong button, and I was just about to exit the studio completely, which would have really messed things up. Yeah, mate. If you want to take a break there, that's great.
Yeah.
I'm loving what you're doing so far. So much work involved.
Yeah, that is definitely why I'm taking a Blue Peter approach.
Yeah,
I'll cut it and then shape them, and oh.
But you can really see it taking shape, and it's looking great already. So yeah,
I mean, in the little bit of the flute there, I just wrap an abrasive around the pencil.
Yeah,
it just gets it right into the form there. So yeah, so now would be a good time, really.
All right, mate. Well, we'll take a couple of minutes there. Let you grab a drink if you want to. And,
yeah.
If you will come back and have a chat in a moment, if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right, brilliant. So I'll take you off screen for a minute if you want to just magically do the rest of that in the next 30 seconds or so, and we'll be back in a minute or two with you. So don't go too far away.
All right, Jerry. See you in a minute.
Cheers. Right, so that's shaping up really well. I think that's looking great. So looking forward to seeing what happens with that in a minute or two. Yeah, Ben, I might get the hang of it in a few years or so. You never know, but that's why when we did the weekend and when we do our YouTube videos, I get people in to do it for me because they know what they're doing, and somehow they actually make me look good, and that takes some doing. So I'm very impressed with that. So it's good fun. Alrighty, so how do you clean a Duragrit disc? God, let's just stop trying to read things while I'm doing something else. I have no idea. We'll get back to Chris in a minute. I'll see if I can answer that for you in a couple of moments or so. A couple of things just to tell you about quickly before we go too much further. Before we get back to Chris, we'll be back again next month, and I should be able to remember the dates, but I can't. So you need to make sure you've signed up for our bulletins to see see when our next demo is going to be. But it's going to be with Colwyn Way. He's making a return for us. We've got Colwyn coming in towards the end of October. Just in time, he's going to be doing another one of his Oktoberfest type projects inspired by the turnings from the continent, and just in time for Christmas. So if you're looking for some ideas on some different things to make for Christmas, come along and see what Colwyn's up to. He did one for us last year with his smokers, which was brilliant. And he's going to be coming back with another one this year. He has shown me what he's going to be doing, so well worth coming to come and join in. But before then, obviously, we'll be having the second half of Chris. Now, talking of Colwyn, there's something we unveiled at the Weekender, which is something we've been working on and off for, well, actually well over a year. We were going to do this last year. It didn't happen because all the shows were cancelled and everything else. So we abandoned it halfway through. But we've picked the idea up again this year because it just seemed like fun. Those of you at the weekend will have seen it already. And let's just try not to chuck it all over the desk here. And it's our wonderful woodturning calendar. This is the 2022 version. Let's try and... That is really difficult to hold that the right way up. There we go. So there we go. It's a calendar of wood turning, basically. There's a different thing every month. There we go. Starting off with Richard Findlay in January, and some work by Helen Bailey. Some brilliant work there. I'm not going to show you all of them because I like to have, you need to have some surprises in life. But some brilliant work there by Gary and. Yeah, definitely. There are no nudes in this calendar. You'll be pleased to know. Chaz Jones there with a lovely segmented pot, and as you can see, all of them have as well some little work in progress pictures just to show the techniques that we use in making them. Lots of room at the bottom there to fill out all your important dates when Conkers Live is coming on, when the newsletter's arriving, shows and exhibitions, and the such. So there we go. Yeah, that's the wonderful woodturning calendar for 2022. There's actually a bonus month in there. There's 13 months worth of months, basically, 13 months in there. So it goes into 2023 as well. It's not available at the moment. We've had to take it off sale just for a week or so, but it will be back on very quickly. Now they're £7 each per calendar plus delivery. If you order it at the same time as you're ordering something else from our website, just stick one in and it will come through for there. If not, there's a link on the website, or there will be a link on the website taking you to somewhere where you can buy it. Delivered, it'll be £8.50, which is just £1.50 for the postage for us to send it to you. It's an A4 size like that on its side, so when you open it up, it's A3 in total. There we go. So yep, I'll be plugging those again a little bit later on. We've got a few of them, so if you would like a calendar for next year, that's the one to go for, I think. And you mention it to your friends if you're looking for a Christmas present. Yeah, looks good on any workshop wall, I reckon. So we'll come back to that later. So Chris, how are you doing? Hope you can hear me. Are you ready for us to come back to you for a minute or two? Yeah, I think, did I get a thumbs up there? I think I did. Yeah, there's a thumbs up. So thanks, Chris. A couple of things to talk to you about. So let's get you back on there. There we are. Let's put you back on. People were talking about, and you're from the Preston area, I know. People were asking, and the question got answered. Apparently, you were a taxi driver before you went full time with your wood turning.
Yes. Yeah. About 20 years.
Wow, that's a long time doing that. What made you decide to sort of stop doing that and go to wood turning full time? We've already said what wonderfully bad timing that was as well.
There was a few things. I struggled a little bit with some health problems, with mental health problems. Which I've got over very well now. And
good, well done.
I suffer from a condition called tinnitus, which is ringing in the ears. And I got an ear infection a few years ago. And then after the infection, the tinnitus went to another level. So I find working at the lathe extremely therapeutic.
Yeah.
Because without going too far into it, tinnitus is a sound made in your head. So if you have to concentrate, which you need to do when you're at a lathe, it sort of like drops down in the background.
Yeah.
And because of some of the medication that I now have to take because of it, I can't drive a taxi.
Oh, right. Because
it basically says, don't drive in the morning. So I can't. Especially when I've got fare-paying passengers, I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah,
and obviously you've been turning as a hobby prior to that, I guess.
I actually picked up a tool up in 1986.
Wow.
And I probably about 18 months, 2 years into it. And life, as it does, throwed a very large curveball, and it had to go away in the background. And about 9 years ago, I picked it back up again, and I've not stopped since, except when I had a fire.
Okay, well, don't do that tonight.
Yeah,
we don't want to think of that, please. So,
yeah, that was gutting. That was the day before the Harrogate Festival.
Really?
Yeah,
obviously a serious one then, but a serious.
Oh yeah, it gutted the whole workshop.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, gosh. I was luckily the machinery was okay.
But that would have taken a lot to recover from, I would have thought. So
yeah.
Not a lot of fun. Not a lot of fun. Getting back to the questions, I'm just trying to make sure I keep up with them. How do you clean the Duragrit discs?
Right, I can't say about Duragrit. I can tell you how I clean the ones that I use.
Yeah.
And the ones I used, like I said, were Cutsall in the micromotor, and I use the Sabertooth in this. Now, I use a nice soft brass brush. And you literally just clean the grit out. If you go onto Sabertooth website or Cutsall's website, they basically tell you the same. So, I mean, these are, as hard as they are in relation to wood, if they touch metal, you absolutely just need a new blade. So, but the nice soft brass brush is good enough to clean it out. And I've seen other people use like a burner to burn it out and then brush it out again, Terry. Well, I can't speak for the others because I don't have them.
No, fair enough. I'm sure that'll be helpful for people.
Yeah.
So that's great. And we were talking earlier, you've got a lot going on at the moment with this weekend, but you've got some more demos and IRDs coming up in October as well, I think. Is that right?
Yeah. I just had in September, I had me best attended IRD, absolutely over the moon with it. And I've now got 2 more coming up. Because I'm demonstrating over 10 textures, I've separated it into 2 IRDs. Not
Okay,
because
Chris,
I'm trying to.
do you want to put yourself on full screen there?
Oh yeah, sorry.
We've got you in the corner at the moment. That's
Yeah.
better. Oh no, actually, that's worse. No, go back to the.
Right. Yeah. So in October, the 9th and the 16th, I've got 2 demos, and I've split them up. Not because I'm trying to get twice as much money, but I'm trying to give you value for money, because there's so many textures. And if I was trying to cram 10, 12 textures into an hour and a half, there would just be no coverage of each texture. We wouldn't be able to talk about the textures that I was making. So I've separated it into 2, which will give me a lot more time to interact with the audience and answer all the questions as best as I can. So that's why I'm doing it in October, Terry.
All right, that's brilliant. And if people want to find out more, obviously your link is on there very conveniently. The baldwoodturners.co.uk.
That's the one.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
So, hang on, there's a brilliant there. So they can jump on there and get more information from them. I noticed someone earlier on at the beginning of the evening in the chat said they'd had a one-to-one tuition with you, and you know, we're singing your praises, sir.
Who was that, Terry?
I can't remember, I'm afraid. If someone wants to remind me who said that earlier on, because I could spend forever trying to find it. So, Adam from I Love Woodturning.
Oh, yeah. Adam Jackson.
Adam.
Yeah, Adam Jackson, his name is. Yeah, good lad.
Yeah, he thoroughly enjoyed it by the sound of it. Someone's agreeing with you about woodturning being very therapeutic as well. So,
yes.
Yeah, I kind of understand that. And what you were saying about the concentration, it's no secret that I don't do woodturning, but I do. Well, I say I play tennis. I stand on a court and I wave a racket around, but that requires a lot of concentration as well, and it does. It's very therapeutic. It does sort of just gets everything out of your brain, and it's really good for that. So I can fully relate to that. There you go. Mary Alice Burke saying Chris is a great teacher. So there you go.
Mary Alice, absolutely, over in California. Mary Alice, Terry.
Yeah. So that's great. Well, Mary Alice, good to have you on board this evening. If we can cut back on the number of compliments for Chris for the time being, though, because I haven't had his invoice yet for tonight, so we might.
He's going up by the comments, Terry.
I'm going to start putting some fake dodgy ones there. Adam said he used all of his. Leona asked how many texturing tools did Adam buy after your tuition, but he's still using all the existing ones, but hopefully better. James Cassidy has asked, whose chuck holder are you using? I know you said, and I can't remember what you said.
So woodcut, James.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Woodcut. Thank you. I know you did say it, but it's gone completely out of my brain.
Yeah. So woodcut carver's clamp.
Okay, woodcut carver's clamp. So that's the one you're looking for there. Looks pretty good. And that pencil jig thing, I've got to ask you about that. Because I looked at that and I thought, well, you must have to reset it every time. But of course, that was a stupid way of thinking, because it's obviously set to be the exact height above your lathe bed for the center of the chuck or the center of the spindle. So yeah.
So you don't have to reset it, no.
Yeah, so simple and so effective. And I can see how easy that made the job of marking that out.
I mean, I can actually take this to a club, and depending on what lathe they've got there, as you can see, I've got a couple of more holes there. So I just made it suit the lathe that I was on. So you literally take the pencil out and then put it in at the new height. And that's, it's absolutely brilliant. And now I can't get the pencil out now.
I didn't say it, but I'm still going to ring the bell.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah.
The idea, who I actually got this from, was George, what's his surname? I forgot his surname. George from the Tree on Instagram. They're a really good friend. He's a fabulous turner. But yeah, I saw this on George's page. on his feed on Instagram, and I thought, I'm having one of them. And
Yeah.
it's so good at what it does, so simple.
And that's the thing. Very often these jigs are often so. George Watkins, everyone's saying.
Well, that's
so,
it.
Yeah.
My mind is terrible.
Where would you be without the comments tonight?
Well, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
a fascinating piece of kit. So yeah, brilliant. Did it again. I'm trying really hard not to say that word, but I can't help it. All right, so Chris, are you good to go on the second half? Are you ready to carry on?
Yep.
And I can shut up talking rubbish. So mate, all over to you. Keep the questions coming in, folks. We'll keep passing them over, sometimes intelligibly as well. So yeah, Chris, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Terry. Thanks for that. Okay, so we've carved them out. We've sanded them back as much as we want. Got a nice, even-ish surface. Now, this little tool is called the Dremel Engraver. And it's just got a blunted nail in the end of it. It's just taken out with a little set screw under there. And you basically... And it's not sharp, doesn't cut you, but it's an engraver, so it's hammering the wood. And it gives you this effect. Well, what I will do, I'm going to zoom in that overhead. As you can see the texture it's creating when it's just hammering the surface. So where the ridge lines are, try and take them out a little bit so it's not a full continuous line. But when we add the accents later, the breaks in that will show the colour that is underneath. So you just need to take it out so it's not a solid line on the ridge. So I'm just going to do these three. So you can see the effect that it gives. It's absolutely unique. What you have to take on board is the textures. When we apply the colours, we will put an accent over the top. We'll have a base colour, which will be over the high and the low points. But when we put the wax on the top, we will just be very gently capturing the top pieces. So if they're not, what can happen if you leave it too wide, you get a big splodge of colour. Like if you see that there's quite an area there. So you want to take them out, and also along that line there's a very flat edge. So it's worth to take the time So it's a very simple but a very effective technique. If anybody wants to, any questions on that? Wrong way. There we go. So we've cut the flutes, we've added the texture. So now I can take it off this. Wait a minute, stay there. Really gets hold of the chuck sometimes. That's it. We can get rid of the carver's clamp. I'll take that out. So that is the Blue Peter bit for that portion. So, like I say, we've measured the flutes out, cut them out, and then textured. So the next step is a completely textured and cut out piece. Now, you can see there's masking tape. The underside is finished. So that'll go in the chuck. And the first product we're going to use, we're going to put on some Ebonizing Lacquer. So move that camera around a bit. That's better. So I've masked that off there because I'm trying to limit as much overspray as I can going onto that piece. So we're going to use Chestnuts Ebonizing Lacquer, which is, as you can see on the black base to this. So get it nice and warm if you can. Give it a good shake. Make sure the rattle ball is going around. Nice and loose. So I'm just going to put that over there to try and protect my lathe and the black colour. A little bit more. Just try and like spray it away from it, so if it shouldn't get any overspray. Light coats definitely work best. Heat gun or an air dryer to help it dry along. So you can see the wet look leaving it as it dries. Oh. I think we're nicely covered there, I think. So again, just a quick dryer. Take that off. So just give that a bit of rebs, get it, make sure it's dried off properly. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That's covered. So I'll just leave it another minute.
What do you do about the inside of the form there, Chris? Do you colour
Uh,
it? Do you leave it?
I would generally colour it black on the inside, as you know, there's going to be a really nice, strong, contrasting colour on the fins and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I generally just colour it black on the inside.
And how do you do that? What
Again, I'd be
software?
using your chestnut lacquer, and I would take it in there on the inside very carefully
Yeah.
and just spray it in there.
And we
And
should
your
start.
stuff is,
Yeah, we should start
hey,
supplying little nozzles, little tubes to go on the end, so that you can spray the inside of forms.
yeah, yeah, it would be, yeah. Another thing you can sell there.
Yeah.
It'd be
All right.
belting. Yeah, it'd be like the WD-40 tube.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got some. We're using that for something else at the moment. So yeah, we might look at that. Expect some bits to play with. Cheers.
Right, so we get this as dry as we can. So hopefully this will have done its job. That seems to have worked nicely. So when I put the tape on, I had it right onto the very edges, the very top of the peak, the ridge line there. So that's worked very nice, that. Otherwise, obviously, if you don't take the precautions of putting some tape on, you would then, if you do get any overspray, you'd have to start sanding it off, which is just another world that we don't want to go into tonight. So that there, yeah. So I'm going to take it out of there because I find it a pain in the butt working that way around. So I'm just going to have to put this back in. So I can work on the top of the piece. It's much easier to control that way. Get that there. Okay, so you can see the texture on there now. It's very nice and dry. Now this product, Terry has done a wonderful job with this, and the colour is just something else. I apply it with my fingers. I find it very, although it is a wax, it is very pasty. It is absolutely phenomenal to use. And it dries extremely quickly. So sort of put it on, take it off. You don't want to put any big lumps on. So we're going to gently catch the texture on the phone. Which always remember, it's always easier to add than it is to take off. So just a little, there's a very fine amount on, and just put it where you want it. You can see where the high spots of the texture are. I mean, previous times I've done this form before, and I've used the gilt cream, and that just looks equally as well. But this has really taken it to another level now with the colour. It's so user friendly, and that has dried already. It's fantastic. Very little amount on your finger. So this is a wax, and it dries off very quickly. So over the top of this, we can put another wax. Another wax is Terry's recommended finish for it. And who am I to argue with the man who makes the stuff? You can see the piece nearly coming to completion on the top. We've missed a bit there. What I was saying before about the texture, there's a break in the bridge line, so it gives a change in the colour. It's not a solid colour at all. You've got the nice background to it.
Question coming in, which I could answer, but I'll let you.
Right.
You played with it, about using a dry brushing method for applying the rainbow wax, which is to a point, I think, really what you're doing anyway. It's using your fingers as a brush almost, and just applying just the tiniest amount, because, as you say, a little bit goes a long way.
Yes, it does. I mean, you could use a brush, but I find it much more, is it tactile the right word? I find it much easier to use, and I can put it exactly where I want then.
I think you'd need to be very careful with a brush, with a dry brushing method. You'd need to have the brush very dry, otherwise it will follow the contours of the timber and the texturing, which your finger won't do it. So
I mean, if you was working on a textured piece with the texture running one way, you could use your brush on it to go across the texture. But like you said, Terry, with this texture is not running in any one direction. So it could go into the texture where you don't want it. We want it just on the tops.
Yeah. Debbie Cool is just saying that she'd have a tissue handy and brush and sort of like wipe the brush on the tissue first to make sure it really was pretty dry. And I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
So just coming up with a finish on that now. Because we're putting on such a small amount, it really does dry very, very quickly. A good bit over there. Just make sure you get it on your ridges. Make sure you've got your breaks in your ridges so it changes the coloration of it. And with the high point and the low points now, it really creates a good sense of depth. Although, as you know, the texture is only at the outside edge about 6 or 7 millimeters. And yet, when you have the low lights of the darker black and the highlights of these, it really adds a good amount of depth to it. Just a little bit of mist there. Okay. There's a few colours I've tried in that. It looked well with the silver and the green. Not silver. It's charcoal. Charcoal and this aqua blue work really well together, but the charcoal didn't come up well on the camera for some reason. So, but the aqua blue does come up very, very well. So I'm just going to let that dry. It won't take. It's allowed to dry for about 5 minutes, and you can buff it to a high gloss. So what I will do, I'm going to let that dry for a minute, and going to put a bit of wood wax 22 or crystalline, because I don't know what I've done with the wood wax 22. Just get that off. In fact, I can use that. That seems to be dried already. Oh, no, still a bit wet yet. Still a bit coming off. We might have to give it a bit longer to go. Just get it on the lathe and get some revs going. Just help it to dry off. As you know, the microcrystalline gives it a harder finish than the Wood Wax 22. So if it's going to be handled a bit more, this is definitely the one to be going for. Hopefully that's had enough time to dry off now. And again, a small amount. Oops, go on to that one. Again, just a small amount. So I run the risk of it, if it's not dried, of taking it off the high spots and putting it into the texture. So I'm going to leave that for the minute, but that is what I would use when it's fully dried. So because of the time constraints, obviously, I'm not going to be able to get it dry enough. And I don't want to start putting it all into the texture. Well, the outside of the piece, that's going to be simply finished with a wax finish on there. In fact, I can put that along with that corner. Because it won't get into that bit. Then just a little bit, that's all it needs. This has already been sanded up to about 400. And I can never remember how long to leave it for. Okay.
Ideally, you want to leave it sort of about 10 minutes or so, Chris, but
Yeah,
you can usually cheat and get a shine out of it after a couple of minutes. But
yeah.
again, it's as best practice would be to leave it about 10 minutes, but
Yeah.
you can cheat and get something out of it before that.
Always try and use a new piece of paper towel or finishing paper, because you want to be taking the wax off. If you use the same piece where you just took it off and go on again, you put it back on again. So make sure you've got a new clean surface. And the nice little bit of a satin sheen coming on that now. You can feel it nice and smooth. So we're going to take the foot off the piece. Well, for that, I will use a set of cold jaws. No, I'm just going to stick that there. So as you can see, I have some quite deep pegs on these, buttons, or if you want to call them that. And this particular piece, if you look down the front of it, they slightly slope backwards. So there's a bit of a fall to the flutes. So when that goes in there, it's nice and secure. If it were just had the smaller buttons, you'd only be just catching the tops, and it's just not enough. Then also, I'll bring in the tailstock, so to the centre point that we've already got located there. So I'm just going to bring my tailstock back up. Okay, so we're going to carefully place that in there. We'll make sure it's nice and flush. Don't fully tighten, just get it on. And then we can bring that tailstock up so we know that we're nice and centered to that. You can see there now, that's nice and centered. It's got a good grip in there. And I don't run these any faster than about 600 RPMs. So turn the speed right down. There we are. It's running nice and true. I'm really happy with how that is. Let's take this out of here. Let's get it in as close as I can. So what I generally use when I'm taking the tenon off now is a little 10mm gouge, and I'll try and take the wood off while I'm pushing into the spindle, because there's only this hole in it. I don't want to create any extra pull on the side of it, if you would. So just look there, that's in. So I say around about 600, and we're just going to gently peel it away. So if you can see the detail on that foot on that piece there, just to just drop in there, and it really takes some weight out of the piece, like it's disappearing in there. So I'm just going to cut that back, and then a very shallow cut in there. I'm just going to reduce some of this length. So that foot needs to be a little bit smaller than that, yeah. So again, it's going to have a hollow in the foot, and if it did move, it would still sit like a three-legged stool. So as long as it's got the hollow in there, it's pretty good. So I'll just keep repeating that cut. Right, I'm just going to take that one little bit more around there. So now I'm just going to use a very fine detail gouge where I'm just going to cut that little bit of an undercut there. So I'm going to make sure that my tool rest is very nice and close. And that'll give me a good little cut there. So just find the back of it there. It's just that little bit there. Clean that up. That's it. And that. That's nice there. And a little bit. Okay, so I can quite safely take that out now. Get the tool rest across the piece. And I just want to double check that that's all right now that there's no support from the tailstock. That's good. So again, I'm just going to take the smaller ball gouge. I'm going to get rid of that. Try and come cutting it right into the spindle. Want to lift that up a touch. A little bit more out of that, make it a bit more hollow. Just take a little negative rake scraper just to clean the base of that up. And again, just going to quick tidy with that 180 grit. And just want to clean that edge up where it goes into the foot. Let me just turn that compressor off, sorry. Sorry about that. I'm going to get some of that wax in there. Let's get that drying. And get that piece out of there. We'll go to that screen there. So that's how it sits on there. When it goes over to the side, it just self-presents itself on a nice little foot. Really pleased how that went. And I hope everybody enjoyed Terry's new product there. Absolutely love it myself. Won't be the last thing I'll be using it on, that's for sure. Thank you very much.
Chris, that's great. Can we have a bit of a close-up of the form, please? It's looking great from there. Brilliant. The way you use the rainbow wax there to bring out the texture of it, and the dry brushing with your finger sort of technique. I don't know what else to call it. There's probably a better name for it, but I'll come up with that later. But that's just amazing. And
it's a nice design, goes well. Nice curve, like I say. It's got to have the shape there to begin with. And just the rainbow waxes have really highlighted this, and it works really well with the texture. Yeah.
Some great comments coming in there. John Smith saying it's brilliant. He just asked for that, really. So sorry, we had to do that for him. That's great. So, as a rule, obviously we've done that on a. I'll come back on screen for a minute. I've done that on you've done that for us on a bit of a Blue Peter job. He hit prepared earlier. Fully understand the reasoning for that. Had you not been doing that, how long would you say, start to finish, a piece like that would take you?
From a hollowed out form, you're probably looking at 4 hours, 5 hours. Right,
so that's after you've hollowed it out. So, and the hollowing out, you were saying half an hour or more than that?
Yeah, you can pretty hog it out in half an hour, 45 minutes. But then there's the turning of the rough form. There's that piece that I did before where I've showed how I did the texture. That's now hollowed out. And when that dries, that's nearly dry and ready to go, So it will have moved ever so slightly. So it would just need rough turning again inside to get it round again. But yeah, I mean, what I generally do when I rough turn them, I put some PVA glue just on the end grain.
Yeah.
And let it dry.
Yeah, brill. Someone's asking there, what make is your right angle grinder, please?
Oh, the Orbitech.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, that's the actual brand is Orbitech.
Okay.
I think they've superseded it with a new one now. It's still similar to this, but they're giving a different cutting edge and what have you. Not the one that I bought, but they're a fantastic piece of kit.
All right, brilliant. Thank you. Hang on. Thank you very much. So I'm not going to do that again next time round. I promise you. This is sanding drill. Maybe that's what was meant. There is a Ryobi. That's the.
Oh yeah.
The right. I said right angle grinder, didn't I? Sorry, a right angled sander was what was the question.
Yeah, it's a Ryobi. Cordless, absolutely brilliant. Very handy.
And Simon Barnard asking if you have any views on the Mini Arbortech versus the Proxon versus the King Arthur mini grinders. I don't know if how many of those you've used and feel able.
I can only speak for the Arbortech, Terry. I've never used a Proxon and I've never used a King Arthur. All I know is that ticks all the boxes for me. It's got plenty of power, over 700 watts. So I can't comment on the others. I've never used them.
Okay, no, fair enough. But
yeah,
it does the job for you, and that's the main thing. You're happy with it, so that's fine. Nathaniel, that was a woodcut carver's clamp.
Yes.
So I remembered something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
Using there.
Really good piece of kit they are as well.
Okay. I nearly said brilliant. Oh, I did it. Oh, what the hell? There we go. I know Debbie's enjoying that bell, so I'm just going to ring it one more time. So loads of very, very positive comments coming in, Chris. Wood Dude, Vernon Lewis Lavender, Mary Alice again, J Dub. He's looking forward to your demos on the 9th and the 16th. So don't forget, folks. Right. If you want to join Chris for more texturing demos, he's got lots more like that. Head over to the baldwoodturners.co.uk and sign up there. Well worth doing. And Martin Gom enjoying the demo there. Loads of others. All right. Simon, I didn't see you put that link in there. Thank you for that, for the chat. So, yeah, that's brilliant. So we're going to head over onto Zoom in a minute, Chris. If you want to come and join us over there, hopefully you've got the link somewhere. If you are in the chat and want to come over, then again, the link's at the top of the page. It's pinned to the top of the chat. So do come and join us. I've just realized that I haven't finished this week's newsletter, so I won't be hanging around over there too long because I've got to get that finished. Otherwise, no one will know it's Friday tomorrow and the world will stop. So I will be heading over.
I'll go and go over to the Zoom, Jerry.
Yeah. All right. So I'll see you over there, Chris. I'll let you go. Thank you very much again from me, from everyone in the chat.
Thank you.
Thoroughly enjoyed that. Great to see the finished item. So I'll let you go now. Get yourself sorted to Zoom and catch you over there in a minute or two. Oh, he's gone already. There we go. Before I could even press the button. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. I hope you've enjoyed the demo. I thought that was very, very good. I'm not going to say it again, but it was really enjoyable. Great to see the rainbow wax being used. That's a new product that we unveiled at the Woodturning weekend. 10 different colors available in those little pots, and that's available on the website. Richard, I hope you're okay there, matey. But yeah, so they're available on the website. Don't forget the calendar's coming up soon. And again, we're back next month on the 19th of October. I looked it up so that I know. Where we'll have Colwyn Way again, giving us a great Oktoberfest demonstration and some great ideas for Christmas. So if there's any other questions anyone wants to quickly get in, now is the time. And if not, come and join us on Zoom if you can. And if you are unable to, or for whatever reason, Michael Stratton, no, do not bring your bacon and onion pudding over to Zoom, please, because I haven't eaten yet, and it's not going to do me any favors whatsoever. Yeah, we had a great night. Thank you very much. You can catch up with it all on YouTube. It's going to be here for a couple of weeks, so you can still watch it again later on. So, folks, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we will definitely, I hope, see you next time around. And if not, see you on Zoom first. Take care. Bye now. Thank you.